It's crazy. It took me 30 minutes to get to the office this morning. It's usually 10.
I'm sorry, my head.
Right? It is busy out there. I think the winter, they're not back. It's just school traffic. Yeah, lots of construction on the 101. Life is crazy, right? And then school starting up. Imagine in October when the winter visitors come here for low season.
I drive 35 miles one way and stop it.
Oh, okay. 35 miles one way. Wow. Where do you come from?
Gilbert,
Gilbert.
Haley.
All right. So, hey, thank you all for being here today. It's exciting as we start to enter the fourth quarter, right? Third quarter's coming to an end. October, November, December. You want to finish the fourth quarter strong. And then never take your foot off the gas pedal on lead generation, because you know what you're doing today is going to affect the first quarter of next year, right? So if you want to start Q1 off strong in 2020, the things you're doing now are essential to make that happen. So you got to start thinking about, right, what does your holiday package look like? So one of the things that I do every year is I send out a calendar to all my past clients. And then one year I elected not to do it, and I got calls from my clients saying, "Where's my calendar?" And it's hilarious. And then another year I was like, because it's pretty expensive. I think it's, Dave, what does that run me?
More you than for me.
Yeah, but how much?
I spent $1,000.
All right, so I probably spend about $3,000 by the time you do postage and everything. But here's the other thing that's the dagger, is the returns that come back on those. Right? People that sold without me because I'm not keeping in touch with my contacts, right? Or my clients, existing clients, right? What a dagger. Because one of the things that you guys will hear me talk about a lot in business planning, and the reason why you got to keep your SOI tight, is we call it in the flow, right? So watch this. So I sell a house 5 years ago, right? 5 years ago. I keep in touch with them. They know who I am. They see me occasionally, right? But then their kid's in a soccer program, and guess what? Their head soccer coach is a realtor, right? So now I'm no longer in the flow. So what happens? The realtor, hey, yeah, he's a good guy, coaches my kid, he's friendly. Well, I see he's got a pretty good book of business. Then who gets their account? The soccer coach. I'm out of the flow. So you got to find ways to stay in the flow. So you'll see that the RTT group now does 4 events a year. We have one coming up in October that we're calling a tailgate event. It's going to probably run us about $7,000, but we invite everybody that's our SOI. We do food, drinks, and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's really important stuff. All right. I always start with lead generation because you guys have to know how important it is. It's the only thing that will separate you from being successful and average, or even below average, right? Eddie Paris.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to our meeting.
Thank you.
So the last month and a half, Eddie and I have been in dialogue. As you guys know, and not know, but maybe not, a while back, Eddie's son, Mark, unfortunately passed away. And left Eddie with a firm that he didn't realize he'd be running at this stage in his life. And Eddie and I have partnered,
Yep.
and we've acquired Remax Renaissance. I knew I had the right guy when I called Eddie and said, "Hey Eddie, we got to get the word out," because we've been in dialogue for about 45 days. I said, "We got to get the word out." And this is where I knew I had the right guy. Eddie goes, "Well, as soon as I'm done showing, I'll come by your office."
Anybody know Jim McGifford?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. President of Scottsdale, 2 years. He works. He's in our company. He had to get on a plane. I had to show for Jim. I'd show for you too if I had to. Wait a minute, take that back.
Be careful, because what did I get this morning? So here's the owner of the company, and no, it's no big deal, but Brad Jensen texts me and says, "Hey, I'm out of town. Can you have one of your team members or somebody in the company show 2 houses for me?" I started laughing. I reached out to Lori. Lori immediately called me. I actually talked to Brad this morning. So that's the kind of culture that we're dealing with here, and I knew I had the right momentum when Eddie said, as soon as I get done showing 2 properties, I'm like, he's mine.
Can you tell us a little bit about REMAX Renaissance?
Sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about REMAX Renaissance. Where are you? How many agents?
Very quickly, Mark and I co-founded our company 15 years ago, and I've been with REMAX, I've been in real estate 43 years, but with REMAX 24 years. My son, all his life has been with real estate, is how he says it. He was 1 when I started. And we started our, he'd been in real estate. Hi, Chi-Chi. It's another story. She's a wonderful lady. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked.
No, that's right.
We started our company 15 years ago, and we have 3 locations that Dale we're merging together. He's taken over. And I will stay branch manager at the Peoria office, and we will continue and blossom and grow. And Rebecca Palmer, are you here?
I'm here.
There she is.
Hey, Rebecca.
Okay, she's with us too, and she told me she's going to be here today, and I didn't want to miss saying hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
And she's been with us a long time too, but she's known Dale a long time.
Yeah, that deal's
And I-
good.
Dale and I go back 15 years plus, and I'm happy to be where I'm at.
Bill, will the name change?
Yes, so,
Where are the other offices?
Our offices are Peoria, 91st Avenue, Lake Pleasant Parkway, in Gilbert, not too far from his Chandler office, and then we have Sonoran Hills, Carefree Highway, and 27th Drive. That's Jim Giffords of branch manager.
yeah, so Jim was a REMAX owner back in the day at one time too. He folded
Right.
into Renaissance.
And he merged in with us in the past.
So we're really proud. There'll be some growing pains, right? As we go from 5 locations to 8. But we got the bandwidth. So Melissa Dirks is going to be instrumental in running West Side sales along with Eddie. So we're ecstatic about the relationship and the growth, and Eddie will be a mainstay in that project.
Right. And it's great to see a lot of friendly faces that I'm seeing again today that I didn't even know. We just hadn't seen each other in a while. Right, Karen? That's right. I can go on with a few more, but then I'm going to get harassed because I missed somebody.
No harassment.
I want to shut up.
But we do beat up each other in the halls quite often at our company. You'll see that commissions. I always laugh that we can make $10,000 decisions in the hallway on the run.
Oh, sure.
So,
We have to.
but well, that's it. If we're a go company that we say we are, right? Then decisions are made quickly, right? Hopefully everybody's leaving happily.
I got to tell you, there's an extra 10,000 you owe me, but we'll talk about it. I'm kidding.
Anyway, welcome, Eddie. Anything we can do. All right. We have a couple of new agents. Amy, stand up, introduce yourself.
Okay.
You joined your sister's team.
Yes, I'm Christina Espinosa's sister. My name is Amy Gloyd. I was born and raised here, but I moved away for 8 years, so now I'm back, and I'm back in the business. I did it before I left. I did it in New York and New Mexico, and now I'm doing it again. So I'm excited to be here on Christine's and Helene and Christine's team. So, hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lauren Murray. Is Lauren here? She's not here. She's not here. All right. Dante, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, stand up and say hello. You get the double banger because you left and now you're back in.
I know, it's like coming home. So I am now with Todd Golinson, and it's great to be back. Hello, everybody.
So one of the things we pride yourself on, and Dante will tell you, is we're an easy company to leave and an easy company to come back. You know, we don't hold grudges.
Dell's easy.
But I got to say this, and I think it's important. You guys got to be careful on what you do with what broker, because I'll give you an example, and David, you can attest to this. It cost me $225,000 to leave Coldwell Banker, and a month after leaving, I got shingles, because it does matter who you choose to hang your license with. We make it extremely convenient. But when you find other venues out there, don't forget for 1 second that the broker doesn't know who the listing and who the buyer contracts are with.
Well, let me just tell you what easy means. So, you know, you do a lot of recruiting, and your companies that when you have listings, you have to give up 50% to transfer them to, if you want to come to another company. We've never done that. and we won't do that. It's all
No.
If you stay with us for a day or for 10 years and you leave us, you get all of your listings, unless you owe us money, you get all of your listings.
Hopefully not.
You get all of your listings, and we don't charge you, we don't take a referral fee, you just get your listings, and all your escrows will all close with fine properties at your normal splits. We don't
Yeah, we
change
don't.
anything when you leave. And that's a question that nobody ever asks a brokerage when they're interviewing. They never ask the departing question.
Right, or a 90 days to 6 month to vacate. You gotta give like a 90 or a 6 month notice to say I'm leaving. What? That doesn't even.
Or they tell you that they won't charge you to leave, and then they do.
Well,
Yeah, David.
Hire an attorney.
I think that's a testament to working with an owner and a broker that are in the trenches with us every day.
Yeah, guys, I know people are doing business with you because you're good, right? And then it's a combination of being good with a good brand that comes together for the perfect storm that's going to move your business forward, right? So I know that. I don't know your buyer and I don't know your seller, but I know they're doing business with you, Veronica, because you're good, right? All right. So, all right, Dante, welcome back. Yep. So, Shauna Hooker's not here, but Shauna Hooker is in Fine Props. Derek McDaniel's not here, but he is with Fine Props. So is Cassandra and Flagstaff with Fine Props. Gigi, stand up and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Gigi and I was born with Max running.
Welcome. Yeah. So you jumped a little early, but we certainly appreciate you forecasting that you had some needs there, and we're happy you're here.
Yep, thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Yvonne Kilpatrick, did I say that right? Yvonne, welcome.
Yes, I'm Yvonne Kilpatrick. I'm related to Scott Dexter through marriage, and I just got my license, and I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, pleasure. All right, so I got a couple of awards. Is anybody here from the Matheson team?
Right there.
Alex. That is too funny.
We timed that.
There you go. Number 3 in the Arizona and in the region, I think. That's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Davis and driver, the driver group. Stand up. Number 7 through Q2.
All right.
Well, all right, so when you guys hear something like this, so there's about 1,800 agents in the state of Arizona. So these awards are, a big deal. Christy Ryan, is she here? I didn't see her. She's like me. Like me. She might be. All right, so Christy Ryan, number 1 individual through Q2. Christy Ryan. Karen Groban, I saw Karen. Karen. Number 8 individual through Q2. I did the lean. Did you see that? Jeff Barchi. Is Jeff Barchi here? Jeff, number 10 individual through Q2. Jeff Barchi. All right, Todd Golinson. Yes. Stand up. So, Todd, you are now in the RE/MAX Hall of Fame. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So these are RE/MAX career awards, not RE/MAX Fine Properties. There's 4 levels. First level is when you earn $1 million or more in commissions. You're a Hall of Famer. Now, here's the question.
What'd you do with the $1 million?
Here's the $1 million.
Where is it?
Yes, it's an important bank account.
The second level is a lifetime achievement when you earn $3 million or greater. Next level is when you've earned $10 million or greater, and that is the Circle of Legends. And the 4th level is the Luminaire Award, when you've been with RE/MAX for 20 years and you've earned $20 million in commissions.
Which is absurd.
There's only,
It's pennies.
I think, less than 20
Nothing to
people
it.
in the RE/MAX system in 48 years that have made that level. Don Matheson made that level on his 20th year. So,
Yeah, and I wonder if there's no 30 for 30 million, is there?
Yeah, that I don't know.
They might have to make one.
Yeah, but Helene, your Circle of Legends, 10 years, 10 million.
Jose Bo,
Joe, that's official?
I'm about to open the door.
this is the year.
This,
This is the
10
year.
years, 10 million? Yeah. All right, Sandy, you're up.
That's a hard act to follow, so.
Not really.
You guys don't want to hear from me.
Sure we do. Keep us out of real estate, Joe.
So I always think, what can I say? My time is short because I think the panel today is going to be much more fun than what I'm going to talk about. So, you ever go to classes and the guy sits there and he puts ARS 11-31-A Section 2? How do these guys know this stuff, right? Well, I'm going to try to impress you today. Other than those people that came to Camp Advantage last week, who can tell me what ARS 32-1121 Section A, Paragraph 6 says? Probably nobody, right? Here's what it says. If an owner of a house flips it or builds it, in other words, you buy a lot, he buys a lot and he builds a house, or he buys a house and flips it, and he is not a licensed contractor, all the licensed contractors all the subcontractors that were used for the building must be disclosed with their license number. So in other words, I flip a house, I'm not a licensed contractor, and I'm gonna sell it. I've got to disclose to the buyer all the contractors I used with their license numbers.
Wow.
Now let's call this spade a spade. Who's doing it and who's received it on a flip? Nobody, right? Just don't do it.
They're not licensed.
Okay, but it's a question we have to start asking. It's a coming in issue. That's why I bring it up. So if you're selling a house that's a flip, if you're the buying side, you have to ask the question, is the seller, whether he's an agent or whether he's a part of an LLC or he's just an agent and there's a seller, if the seller himself is a licensed contractor, you're fine. But if not, they must disclose all the contractor that they used and their license number. Don't know what the penalties are, I don't want to know what the penalties are.
You know they wouldn't have it.
But you just have to ask the question, and then your buyer needs to know that he may or may not get that.
Yeah.
Is that under inspections in the contract?
It's under statute. There's nothing in our
Oh,
purchase contract that
okay.
says that you have to ask the
It's a
question.
statute, okay.
Yeah. Somebody had a hand up?
So you don't have to be a licensed general contractor to build a brand-new house and sell it within the first 2 years, as long as you disclose.
If you use licensed contractors, yes.
Subcontractors.
That's right, because here's the issues we get into a lot, somebody built on an Arizona room or they built an addition and it wasn't
I'm
permitted.
talking about brand new.
Yeah, if it's brand new and you're not licensed, you've got to, and
you
that's
can-
another whole set of
You can
laws.
do as many as you want without being licensed, as long as you use licensed.
That I don't know, that could be another whole set of laws I don't know, but from a real estate purchase standpoint, you gotta disclose that. So then I got to be thinking, right? All right, so here's something that's interesting. Tell me what ARS 11, I can make up the numbers, you wouldn't know. Right, ARS 32-112, Section 6. That's the handyman rule, right? We all know what the handyman rule says. Any repairs of $1,000 or greater has to be done by a licensed contractor. Right, everybody knows that? Okay, so here's the question. We're dealing with Binzer issues, and the person puts down in the Binzer, fix this, fix that, and it must be done by a licensed contractor. We've discussed this to a blue in the face, right? You can't do it because it changes the terms of the contract and so on. But the question is, by default, if all those repairs are greater than $1,000, then it has to be done by a licensed contractor by default. And that's probably not happening either. Because here's what is happening, and I see this a lot. So let's assume a handyman is doing, let's say it's $2,000 worth of work. The way people are getting around it is, first of all, the handyman is doing the work, he's providing receipts, but he's not saying one receipt, $2,000. He'll say, this job was $500, this job was $350, fixing the window is $200. But the rule is, the aggregate of $1,000, more than that, has to be done by a licensed contractor. And generally speaking, in our industry, that's not happening either. So just something to be aware of.
As a heads up, even if you're doing a job as a general, and has a general contractor, there's an actual clause in there that if it's electrical or plumbing, those subs are not covered by the general, This is something I came across this last week that I'm having an issue with. So electrical and plumbing, they have to hold their own specific licenses for the trade. So just as a heads
Sure,
up,
and-
if you're using a general, don't think that electrical and plumbing are now covered under that general.
And we've talked about a lot of times, you know, in our library of clauses, that if you want to make licensed contractors for BINSA issues, put it in the purchase contract, not in the BINSA. So in the purchase contract, you'll write, any items agreed upon between buyer and seller to be repaired that include electrical, plumbing, roofing, whatever, shall be done by a licensed contractor. So now it's a contract issue, and that can't be argued.
Four offers on the house.
It's not done by
you're not
a,
gonna
it's
get
not
it.
done by a
Sure.
BINSA issue.
Hallelujah.
Good, done.
How specific, if you have multiple contractors doing that, say there's $1,200 worth of work being done, 400 is done by a unlicensed contractor, and you know, one
Sure.
for one set and another for the other 800.
And those are all,
How that
I
works.
don't know the answer.
Or do
I
you
just
have a
don't
licensed
know.
contractor handle 200 of it, and then the other guy
Sure.
can do 90 or 300?
You know, there's so many different variables that we can, I don't know the answer. I just want to be aware of it because we're dealing with this, and here's the good news, it really hasn't been an issue, you know, in a major, but I can just see it coming down the line, because we're doing more and more, especially with flips, and everybody's getting in the business, all of us, all amateurs are getting in the business, thinking they're doing it, and one day somebody's going to get burned, and we're going to be that buyer agent, and when that buyer finds out from a lawyer that he was supposed to get licensed, you know, contractors and license numbers, and we didn't, that puts a lot of bonus on us.
Maybe a good idea is in your BINSR to put that law in the BINSR as a nudge and a reminder to the seller. and
Absolutely.
agent.
And I suggest that to somebody the other day in your BINSA, just saying as a reminder, it's not, you're not disapproving, right? But as a reminder, please provide, as per ARS, you know, number so-and-so, please provide the licensed contractors used.
So if you're representing the seller and they didn't get licensed contractors to do that, should they just disclose it in the SPUDs that they had work done and it was not done by
Well, they have
licensed
to do that
contractors?
anyway, right? Because they asked if permits were required, was licensed contractors required, so they have to disclose that in the SPUDs. If you're gonna deal with something like that from a seller, just call me. I don't know what the ramifications are past the disclosure, but I'll tell you what, if they don't disclose it, it makes it worse. But in the SPUD, you've gotta disclose what was permits required, what contractors required, were they used, things
So I
like
have a
that.
seller that doesn't know. It's in escrow right now. I probably should have called you.
Well, he probably knows, I mean, he
No,
built
he
the house.
doesn't. He's hired people, he's out of state and hired people here to help him.
Landscapers in the
And there's been
kitchen.
people in and out, and he can't get a hold of the people who worked on it before, so he doesn't even know
How
who
long
did
ago?
the work. It's been a remodel that's been going on for a couple years.
All right, we'll talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Darren just ran into
Yeah.
this. So we have a seller that listed his house within 6 months of certificate of occupancy, and a Scottsdale tax reared its head. Like if you listed it, explain that, Darren, what happened. Because remember, I tell you guys, if you come to these meetings, you'll hear it before you see it. This was an odd situation.
Yeah, so I've sold close to 400 lots in 22 years, and then lots of spec homes. I have never heard of this. This is specific to Scottsdale. Our clients decided that they built too far north. They listed their house 10 days before the 6 months they had been occupying it. That triggers a spec home tax for the city of Scottsdale. They don't care if your spouse died, if you got divorced, they do not care. It's automatic, and then they lien your house. So it costs them an extra $15,000.
10 days.
They had no intention of building a spec, they lived in it, and it turned out because we were the second agents, we were not the original listers. But when they went to get the title report, there was a lien from the city of Scottsdale in it. They called, the city said, it's not us, you have to talk to your, you know, whatever, city council, that they're the ones who put this in place. There's no way out of it. And I never heard this before. I do not know that it's a percentage. I don't know if it applies to like a tract home, like Taylor Morrison, like you build that and you go to sell it. This was, they bought the lot, they hired Camelot to come in and build on their lot, and they listed it, like I said, about 15 days before 6 months post.
So it was the
CFO.
list date that triggered it, not the sale
It
date?
is the list date. If you attempt to sell it within the first 6 months, they automatically assume you built it for profit.
I've been holding on to this because you know, you shared this with me a couple of weeks ago. it's scary because it's out there. I'm just gonna read some highlights and, because it's, I've been hesitant about sending this out because it's gonna trigger an alarm that I don't know that we all have the answers for. But here's what it says. It's called the builder tax, right? Buyers and others beware the hidden speculative builder's tax. It has been said that the only two things in life are certain are death and taxes. Let me get to what it is. What is the speculative builder's tax? The speculative builder's tax is part of the Arizona Department of Revenue's Model City Tax Code, Article 4, Section 416. It is permitted in every Arizona city and applied after real property is improved. Not just a new build, by the way, when it says improved. Improvements increase the value of a property, hence the term speculative. Generally, the taxes range between 2 and 0.3% of the gross selling price, and the tax is applied in any situation where the following improvements are made to a property. Structural improvements, such as adding a room, a deck, or another feature. Non-structural improvements, such as paving, resurfacing, or landscaping. Reconstruction as required by regulatory changes. Addition of water or power lines to the property. Construction of a street leading to a property. And it goes on and on and on. And we deal with this every day. And the thing that makes me crazy is what's an improvement. You know, I put in landscaping, you put in but it's speculative builders tax, and it's out there.
Well, notice they said speculative, not end users, right? So if you move into it, is it speculative? Probably not.
So it's kind of a thing, but it's been out there this is nothing new, it's been out there for a long time.
But Darren, thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that.
I've been hesitant about sending this because I don't know what to do with it, to tell you the truth.
Wouldn't that apply to really short-term flips too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, Jill, you have something? It's called the speculative builder's tax. I'm just trying to get more understanding before I send this out.
Just make sure people have an accountant.
Yeah, because they.
And don't talk about that. Like when I run a net sheet, I always say, unless there's something unknown of like a prepayment penalty or a lien on your house, or you might want to check with your accountant, right? Because it's not only 23.5, right? A long-term capital gain, right? And then you guys know the capital gain laws are for housing. If it's your primary residence to the last 5 years, you're usually capital gain free. But I always say, but check with your accountant.
150 per person?
Yeah, $250 per person.
500
Total. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got for any questions for me? Anybody, anything going on? Tomorrow, 9:30, Camp Advantage. For those that have not been there in a while, come, it's a great class. We'll talk about anything that's going on in your world of real estate. So, and Frankie's not here.
It's at the main
It's at
office.
the office, 9:30. It's a great class. It's just come and I promise you won't be disappointed. Okay.
All right, there was one more new agent, Sarah, you snuck in. Stand up and introduce yourself. Look, you didn't know I was going to call on you. Welcome from EXP, right?
Yeah, EXP. I've been full-time about 5 months, and I'm happy to be here for
Yeah, and you brought over a whole group follow you, Amanda.
I came at the end of the group, but yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah, so
let's revisit that.
Janet
Shauna,
Shaw,
Amanda,
Janet Shaw.
Shaw.
And, did you say Shauna Whitmer?
Yes,
Yeah.
but there's another Janet too.
Oh, Jennifer Hull.
Hull, yeah. Yeah. So 6 people came over from EXP, so welcome, Sarah. And you live in Aviano. Yeah. So welcome.
All right, thank you.
All right, the panel. All right, the Burt team. We got the Burt team. We got Christine. We got David. David, where's David? Panel, come on up. And then there's a 4th one, Melissa Dirks. Melissa Dirks.
Can't forget her.
Melissa Dollar Dirks. All right. Good grief. All right, who's been in the business for less than 3 years? All right, go ahead and stand up and ask them a question. So as being newish, right, there's a chance, we're missing something.
Oh, there she is.
Oh.
Sit there next time.
Am I supposed to go now?
Well, no, you don't have to go now.
Oh, no, okay.
Wait, what do you
I
have to
was
do?
talking, I didn't hear you say my name.
Oh, I did. Okay, welcome. All right, so panels, right? All right, so Ben, you got a panel of experts here, right? What would be a question you'd want to shoot at?
Okay, I was on the MLS the other day just trying to learn, and it mentioned the IDX. Can you explain a little bit about the IDX?
That's part of So, you know what?
You'll never use it.
I'm going to throw this one to Melissa. So some of them have assistants. Like for instance, I don't know how the IDX feeds. I call Andrea and say, hey Andrea, set this guy up on a portal, is what I say, or an auto search. So Melissa, you take this one.
The IDX, it depends. Is it an IDX flow to your website?
You know,
Do
I
you
was
know?
just reading about it, so I was like, I wonder what that is.
Can I answer that question from my perspective?
Uh-huh.
Yes, please.
And I don't want to go in the Zillow
Outside the
direction, but
MLS.
that's where I'm going.
Everything
in a
outside
second.
the MLS.
So what happens is, Zillow, for example, right, all these third-party websites get all their information from all the hundreds of local MLSs around the country. And we can decide to put Zillow out of business tomorrow by just checking off or unchecking the IDX box. What we're giving, there's 4 boxes at the end of your listing. And we're doing it, we're allowing it. All we're doing is once you put your listing in, we're allowing it to be fed out to all of these third-party websites, if you will. Think of it that way. By unchecking the box, you're not giving them permission to use your listing.
Go ahead, David.
Well, in addition, there's, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's another annual fee that you can pay. It's not to Armless, to where you can set those IDX feeds to go to all of your own websites. So if you have a website and it pulls up, you've got tabs on there, and it's linking in. There's a, I can't think of the name of the third party. I just renewed mine.
It's an IDX broker.
It's an IDX broker thing,
And there are several
but it's a
of them.
separate fee that you can opt in or opt out of
And
every
basically
year.
it's giving permission for that listing that you put in there to be distributed like a syndication, if you will.
Internet data exchange.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I will tell you, just on a quick note on that, Sandy, how, we can all select those at the bottom. During a listing presentation, I actually had one of my sellers indicate, so why wouldn't I? Wouldn't I want this marketed to everything that I can market to?
Right.
And so it was one of those, right, our fiduciary duty. And what I indicated to them is, this is your choice. It is, your choice as a seller, where you want it to be. And he said, well, if Zillow is the biggest place out there, then I want it there. And I'm, well, okay. So it's a struggle and a battle on that front.
Right, and when you said IDX feed, I immediately associated it with the buyer portal, but I forgot that every night around midnight, all these vendors, let's call them, grabs our information if you opt in, and it throws it out into their websites.
Has to be approved by the broker, so different brokerages feed to different websites automatically, but some are through like the National Association or SAR, like pre-open house for Shannon, however you say her last name, is now approved on there, so it's clicked automatically. But IDX also is something that you can put on your website, so it feeds if people can search, like you search the MLS.
All right, last question here, yeah.
Okay, so when you pay that extra fee for the IDX to be put on your website, that's all automatic, correct?
Depends on who you have set it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to set it up first, like a one-time setup and then.
Yeah, so
I
in
think
my
I've done that.
searches, I have specific searches for different things that I
Right.
do on different websites
Mm-hmm.
that website links to.
Okay, who's been in the business? Okay.
This is just a quick thing, I just discovered this. So if you ever list properties for rent and for sale simultaneously, I know some agents do, Zillow will not list both. You have to choose, do you want it listed for rent, do you want it listed for sale? So in that situation, you could go into that broker distribution on the back page of whatever listing you want to do and unclick the Zillow box only for, let's say, your client really wants to push heavy on the rental. You can unclick the sale box on Zillow, so you're only getting that feed for rentals on Zillow, but you still have your IDX feed to everything else for your sale.
And it automatically puts in the second one you put on the MLS.
Half an hour for IDX.
Like it'll override the first one.
Me too. I had no idea. I do know that agent days on market don't reset if you do a cancel and relist on Zillow. I found that out the hard way. So if you do a cancel and relist, agent days on market do not reset on Zillow. Okay, just food for thought. All right, so who's been in business 3 to 7 years? All right, 3, come on guys, because now you know I'm gonna make you guys ask some questions. 3, come on, there's a lot of you that have been in business 3 to 7 years. All right, does anybody have a question for the panel? 3 to 7 years. All right, 7 to 10 years. Yes, Sam, any questions for the panel? No? So you're working hard on finding your mojo on lead generation, am I right? You haven't found your perfect fit. Like Christy Ryan, everybody in this panel knows what's Christy Ryan's #1 lead source?
Open house.
Open houses,
There you
right?
go.
So let's start with Christine. What's your #1 lead source? Like if you just had to, your go-to move.
Open houses.
Okay.
If I'm slow and I need to get something going, I sit in open house in the area where I work that I know and get business right away.
And what area would that be?
McDowell Mountain Ranch.
Okay, so you're hyper local and you're really pushing that. What do you do to prepare for the open house?
Yeah, it's not just about that day. It's for at least a week or more before the open house. So I post it on everything. I'm really big on social media, and I post it on everything. Especially nowadays, Zillow, if you put that you're doing an open house, it'll advertise it all week for you. And anyone who's looking in that area, if they set up the searches to notify them from Zillow, Zillow will send them an email on Friday saying, here's your open houses for the weekend. So now you've got another, way that your listing is going to the top of the news feeds. And next door.
Do you have to go into Zillow to do that, or does it automatically feed
No,
from
if you
MLS?
put it in MLS, it'll automatically.
But it doesn't cancel it if you sell the listing. Okay, all right.
But, and I ask everybody who comes through my open houses how they heard about it.
Yeah.
And 90% of them are online.
They're all live buyers.
Maybe some are the signs, but most of them see it online.
Yep.
Okay, Sam, you had a question.
Well, she kind of answered that, but the second part of the question is, are you finding that to be seasonal? Because after it got to like 100 degrees, people stopped showing up.
Yeah. Well, I think everything slows down in the summer, but there's still, people come in, then they're serious.
No, trends scare the crap out of me. So between Dave and Darren, I'll always say, oh my God, we haven't had it. And they're, dude, you say this every year. I don't know why you just don't mark on your calendar, slow. It's slow. Bonnie, what's your go-to move on lead generation? Go-to move.
I kind of do my SOI all the time. I mean, I'm consistently mailing out and calling, and I don't do open houses. I don't do enough of them to be good at it. But and in my area in Rio Verde, it's a little bit hit and miss out there because we don't have a lot of traffic. So I just call my SOI and mailers, and that's kind of, I just go to
Do you
those
make it a
people.
point to reach out to so many per day?
I don't. I should, but I don't.
I have time.
Yeah, so you guys can see that even though there's business plans out there, sometimes it's just you show up and you feel your way through the day. I mean, it's not like you're gonna wake up and every morning at 8 a.m., right, and make your first call at 8:05. If you're that person, that's great. But one of the reasons why you guys choose to be an independent contractor is you don't want a boss, right? If you want to take Thursday off to hang out with, sister, brother, uncle, cousin, or play a round of golf, you got that right? So, and Bonnie has earned that right? So I can see that.
She doesn't take days
Melissa,
off.
go-to move.
2, actually.
Lead generation, yep.
One of them, start planning a client event. That is, let them know, get their feedback of what they want to do. We do movie nights, we've done pumpkin patches, you name it. And so we literally will start asking our clients. I'll call them and I'll be like, so these are the movies that we're looking to put together. What would you prefer? And it gives you, a way to talk to them and also ask them, hey guys, inventory is slow. Do you know anyone looking to sell? We've got a ton of buyers, and then start the dialogue. But that's probably the biggest go-to.
Now, Frank, you would have a blast with that because you would post it on Facebook and have like a voting contest.
Yeah, right.
I'm inviting everybody to a Bronco game.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm in.
Only if Benji's coming.
They play New England this year? All right, David, go-to move.
Well, we together, many, many years ago, started a marketing piece in the neighborhood that Dell and I live in, that I do. Dell writes a check for half of it, but I do all the work. And it has been a huge success because we've done it consistently for so long, and it's a well put together piece that we get a lot of traction on that for our community. It's expensive because now we're up to 8,000 mailboxes we hit every time it goes out.
So it's a postcard?
No, it's a full 4-page.
What did you say it cost? Because I think earlier you said the.
About $3,100 every time it goes out. Now, we go every other month.
Oh, you go, and you
We probably
split the
could do it every
31,
month, but
or
it's a lot of work.
Is that per person? Is it 6,000?
We're up to almost 8,000 pieces, and or 7,800 pieces, and it's about $3,100 each time. It's a lot of work, but this is where your title company people come in handy. I have an amazing one who's sitting back there, Allie Flath, who has been instrumental. Before I got divorced, which my ex-wife's back there too. My whole family's here.
Are you doing every direct postage, or do you do first class?
Every door direct mail.
Okay.
And I'm lucky, you got to look at the areas that you want to target to see if every door direct mail is a good fit for that.
Yes, yes.
Because you sometimes get some bleed
Yes.
through. We're talking about Desert Ridge, which is a community that's, we don't get a lot of bleed through outside of Desert Ridge because it's pretty much surrounded by desert. So the postal codes are very friendly to do Desert Ridge. Greyhawk's a different story. Darren's looked into every door direct mail in Greyhawk, and it kind of bleeds here and there, which is no problem. I mean, do that too. But Desert Ridge is good, and also hits the apartments in Desert Ridge as well.
Yep.
So let me tell you an inexpensive way to do it. Start with your neighborhood and go door to door and deliver it.
When Dell and I started, we paid
we
paid kids to literally walk door to door. We printed them in-house on a copy machine early on, and then we paid people to go door to door.
Yeah, David called me and said, "Hey, your nephew's sleeping under the bridge." Do you remember we sent him out there on rollerblades? He's like, and I went there, and like an hour later, he was still there, and I'm like,
Do you have a publishing company that does that newsletter, or do you put it together yourself, or do you have a
My marketing rep, I send Allie all of the data. I write it all, but it's not in any way, shape. I'm the least techie person in this room. And I send Allie, we have a pretty good shorthand where we have a template that she's designed. I send her the data, she puts it all together. We go back and forth a few times. We've got it down to where she can knock this out.
Yeah, but keep in mind, even when you go to these interviews, they're interviewing 3 other people.
Of course.
Yeah.
So it's still ultra competitive out there. All right.
And then a printing company that we use, Printing Source Printing.
What kind of timeline from the time you started until you started seeing ROI on it?
You know, fairly quickly, I think, because when we started, Desert Ridge was kind of a small community, and it helped that Dell, I'll be honest with you, I don't have kids, so I always felt like I was at a disadvantage to Dell, living in the same community and having kids in the school. I started the newsletter to compete with Dell, because I was frankly getting pissed off that he was getting all these Desert Ridge leads and I wasn't getting anything. I'm like, what can I do here? And the newsletter and the marketing piece was.
No, and I can tell you guys how I did that kind of organically. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Yes, yes, yes. Del, you want to sponsor the book club? Yes, how much? Del, can you volunteer to be the Pinnacle High School treasurer? Yes. Now I've been the treasurer for like a decade. Right? I don't even have any kids in the schools.
Yeah, volunteer,
right?
volunteer. But and if anybody, you know, who should be on this panel when it comes to newsletters, Helene.
Oh yeah.
She had a piece. Mine cost us X amount of dollars a month. Hers was a profit center.
Right, but even then, now,
advertising.
this is a good conversation. Even then, now they're trying to take that more digital, right? Mm-hmm. Are you guys trying? So what are you guys doing?
Not yet. It
Okay.
still goes out to all of the households in McDowmont Ranch.
Okay.
And I mean, I remember meeting with Helene 10 years ago and her saying that's how she's built her business. And everywhere you go, McDowmont people know the newsletter. They look forward to the newsletter, and they hang on to it.
Yes, that's the key.
Shelf
It's
life.
something tangible that they hang on to. Del and I can tell you how many hundreds of appointments we've been on.
Yep.
And they may not have the one that we just sent out 2 weeks ago, but they'll pull one 8 years old out of a drawer that they've held on to.
Yeah,
They saved it one
and then
time.
David goes, newsletter. Because we get a different, we had variable incentives.
Splits on how,
Yeah.
where the lead comes from.
All right, so let's talk about, this is interesting, so this leads me to another subject. So I'll start, right, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. So I'm 55. David, you're?
48.
And Darren, how old are you? All right, so you can kind of see I've set myself up 7 years younger, right, so that I have a little bit of a lineage, right? So let's talk about Helene and Christine about the program that you guys worked out, because keep in mind, anybody that's 25 to 35 in here, right? I'm not getting any younger, right? You can't cheat mother time, or right? So you guys worked out an interesting deal.
Well, Helene's not ready to retire yet, but when she is, I approached her years ago, and just once I moved into McDowell Mountain, I knew that I wanted to stay there because I love it. I'm entrenched now. My kids are in the schools, and Helene's always been the #1 go-to agent in that area. I probably approached her too soon, talking about, when you're thinking of retiring, because when I first approached her, she's like, no, I'm not thinking of retiring anytime soon. I said, okay, so I just kept in touch, and several years later, we kept talking and talking and talking, and then when her husband, who was her partner, decided to retire, then she started really thinking, okay, this is probably in the closer future to me now. So then we came up with a partnership, a few-year period of time where now we're Helene and Christine's team. And, we started out, I was on her team, then now we're co-branding everything to Helene and Christine's team, and we have a structured phase out for when she is ready to retire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and that's also why we went from the Rounds team to the RTT home group. And not for when Dell retires, but also for when Darren and I are older and phasing out as well. We wanted to de-emphasize the name and have a brand we could grow and carry on, hopefully, to where we can slow down a little bit and people won't always associate it when I go on appointment. Well, the Rounds team, where's Rounds? And now that question comes.
He's everywhere.
Well, that was Darren's beef. It's like, dude, we got to make a change, and I'm really proud of these two staying as long as they have without that name recognition. So a lot of kudos go to those two. So Melissa, you're too young for this conversation. Bonnie, what are you thinking? So now we're kind of in the 10 to 15 year plan, right? Are you thinking anything?
Not retired.
Yeah, good. Okay.
He's not
Yeah.
retiring.
That's the great thing about real estate, right? It's independent contractor, right? No, if there is age discrimination, it doesn't exist in real estate, right? We're all independent contractors, as long as you can move, or maybe not even move, maybe you just make phone calls, you get a percentage.
Right?
Yeah, Frank.
So when I left Colorado, and I was leaving 33 years of business behind, I was offered, everybody always says, you sell your book, you can sell your book. That's kind of bullshit, to be honest with you, because a lot of people won't do that unless you remain involved and stuff. You're better off teaming up with somebody. But we did have, Melissa and I had somebody offer us $250,000 for a book of business, which sounds really attractive at first, and then, and thank goodness we turned it down. But the residual, the first year that I was gone from Colorado, made $148,000 in referral business because I didn't sell that book of business. So I think teaming up, like what you said, because you don't really ever have to retire from this business. In fact, I think you're crazy, because the one beauty about this business is if you keep your license alive, you can generate income for the rest of your life until, for infinity through referral fees and staying in touch with your database, your SOI. I've tried hard to stay in touch with my SOI in Colorado, and it obviously has paid dividends. I still make more from Colorado than I do here, and I'm hoping to change that, but what a great way to fund your business when you're trying to start new. So.
And I was just gonna piggyback on that. What I was gonna say was, most of us are individuals, we're not teams. The same rules apply. It doesn't change.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. If you want to slow down, you don't want to do the business, you don't want to go to another part of town or whatever, just take referral fees. So the same thing works as an individual as a team. So don't feel this is just team oriented. Yeah, Doug.
The most important thing you forgot to mention in never retiring from the business is you just don't update your photos ever. People don't know.
Well, and one thing like I talk about to agents all the time who come in our office and ask us questions, and I think one thing instrumental in Bonnie's team and the decision she's made to basically double and triple her business over the last 5 years is the staff. Whether you're an individual agent or you're a team, you talk about lineage, you can hire people to do everything for you now. So you can go out and generate the new business and then make it systematic. I think people are getting so stuck in the way of like, I have to be the agent that services this person from beginning to close. And that's where big companies like iBuyers and things like that are taking business away from us because they don't feel like there's a process in place. So even though that touch is still so important from you as an agent, staff is huge, and it's just gonna, I think, continue to grow. That staff is gonna be somebody you need, because I know our process and what we do for our clients, there's no way an individual person could run the kind of business Bonnie does without having the 5 staff members that we have for our team.
And
There's no
also,
way.
there are so many sources out
Yeah.
there, Veronica, you know, that, Fiverr.com. I mean, there are so many different, places you can go to create a newsletter, create any type of logos, things like that, that are reputable, that, don't waste your time out there producing, right? Our jobs are to produce.
Yeah.
Let someone else do the 11-hour a job, right? Let them do that work for us.
All right, so here's your next question. I'm gonna be your worst nightmare seller, and we're at a listing appointment. Okay? So you tell me, Dave, why should I list with you? What are your fees?
A lot.
This is because at
10%.
at
You know,
the end of the day,
being-
we're gonna sit there face to face with the objections.
Okay,
So tell
so
me what
this
you-
is a tough thing for me to convey, because I'm not a scripts guy. I didn't go to Mike Ferry, I didn't do any of that. And to be put on the spot to answer a question, why should you list with me? That is something that evolves the minute I get into the door and I meet with them face to face and I see their life and I see their surroundings and I determine what their needs are. It's hard to just say, I can come in with the resume, #1 RE/MAX team in the state, the whole dog and pony show. But really, we don't harp on that a whole lot. We try to make a connection from a personality standpoint, because people want to work with people that they like and they connect with. It's not just about the resume. So the resume, we have that component down pat, but it really is about trying to hone in on something to make a connection. Dell is excellent about that with kids and different entities and, where did they go to school, what college did they go to, take the dialogue away from real estate just for a short time and try to make those connections, and then close it. We've gone on several appointments where we weren't the first in, but we left with a signed agreement. And if you leave without that signed agreement, you might not ever get back. So close strong if you can. Be prepared to do that.
Testimonials.
So Melissa, I just interviewed some guy named Tucker Farina. So tell me, what should I list with?
But I got the listing before she ever came in here.
Well, first, oh my God, I love it. Well, I will say that one of the things I do is ask them, what are your expectations?
I want my house sold.
Okay.
I want the price that I want, not your recommended price, but I want the price that I need out of it.
Okay. What are your goals?
I want my house, I want my money.
Right. But what goals do you have in mind? Are you looking for someone to do an open house? Are you wanting them to do a mega open house? Are you looking for just sold? Are you looking for internet presence? Tell me what it is that your goal is, and tell me what is the net. What's important about your net?
So you're the professional, so I'll let you do what you need to do to get my house sold, but this is the price that I want to sell my house.
Okay, well then let's go through, and I'll pull up my wonderful Fidelity app, and I'll make sure we'll go through numbers. And I always put my 6% in, 3%. You do not want to deter another agent from showing your home. They deserve 3%, put the 3% in. My job is to market your home, so by the time we take out broker fees, marketing fees that you, by the way, do not pay up front. I pay those as a courtesy to you for receiving your listing. And then we go through, okay, when they realize what you really make off of that 3, then the 3 isn't as hard to explain. So, you know, to get to, I should say. But typically, anywhere from 5.5 to 6 is what if someone is there challenging you, I'm sorry, money's money. I am not going to, if somebody says, Melissa, I've got someone doing 5%, great, what are they doing? And if I know that it's a good agent, I'll go to 5. You know, I just will, because, you know, like I said, money is money, our time is there, and we know that we're gonna get additional business from it, right? So I'll do that if I need to.
You know, a good objection to that, if you're confronted with a seller that says, well, I got this guy from Redfin or whatever that's willing to do it for, you know, why won't you reduce? You know, Pat answer, and maybe you've all heard this before, is if you're willing to hire an agent that can't represent their own value, how can they represent the value of your home in the marketplace?
Yeah.
Well, what I tell you.
And that's a powerful statement.
When they talk about money for me, I'll tell you that I try to avoid the subject because you have to choose me as your realtor first. Because if I'm not your guy when you're interviewing 4 people, if I'm not your guy, it doesn't make a difference what I'm charging you.
Right.
I can do it for free, or I can do it at 8%. It doesn't make it. If I'm not your guy, it doesn't make a difference. So first you have to choose me, and then we'll talk about how much it'll cost.
And by the way, we need to choose them as well, right? Because there are some people that I have walked away from that I won't hesitate, you're not worth the money. You know, 'cause truly, like if there are some that, you know, you have to walk away from. Because I know that if I've got a seller, and I had one, and I regret it to this day that I didn't say no. And, you know, she talks to my husband, says what a horrible agent I am, all of this stuff. And Bob's like, I think you need to call right away. And holy cow, her husband kept declining everything. She didn't know it. He's telling her it was a mess. Yep. So, yeah, you know, just remember, you have the ability to say no to.
So I'm going to change the subject just a little bit for you guys.
Oh, I want to talk about
So obviously you've all been doing this a long time, and you're all extremely successful in your markets and what you do. But I want to play true confessions.
Uh-oh.
Bonnie, what do you really stink at, and how do you get over it?
calling.
Calling.
People I don't know, cold calling.
And do you do it?
I don't. I'm honest, I don't do it. I'll call my sphere, but I do not, I'm not good at it. I'm not a script, and I'm not, I will be honest with you, I know Veronica doesn't want me to say this, but she has the team do it, and I think it's great because they are trying to get business, but I have just not had to do it, so I don't do it.
That's okay.
That's about the only thing I don't like. I don't like driving and talking on the phone, and I do that. And I do all that. I don't mind, but cold calling.
And we'll get a driver for her.
For those that don't know, you know, one thing about my job is I get to know everybody a little personally. Every morning at 5 o'clock, Bonnie is out the door at boot camp, and
3:30.
3:30.
Sometimes I fancy myself as getting in early sometimes, and she always is there.
Christine, what
Like
do you
rolling in
like
at
to do
7
that?
and she's already there.
What just either don't like doing, or you're just bad at, and how do you overcome it?
Well, when I joined Remax Fine Properties, I went to, and I still go if I don't have appointments, to Dell's Thursday morning class, and it's all about lead generating, and a lot of what I heard him say is calling expireds and door knocking, which I tried, and I hate it so much. Even when I got the appointments, it was so much harder to convert them, and I was just like, you know, this is just not for me. So, but I took the same concepts of making so many calls a day, but not to expireds. It's to the people I met on my open houses, to my past clients, and use that. So it's just calling different people and keeping in touch with different people. I was also, I feel like I was flying by the seat of my pants for so many years, just doing things. And what was great when I partnered with Helene, she's extremely systematic. And having the right systems in place allow you to do so much more business, you know, in a shorter amount of time. So it's been helpful for me to really hone in on the systems. Because when you're busy and crazy, you can just refer back to those fundamentals and those systems.
We only have 2 minutes left. Do you guys want to answer that question? What do you just don't feel like doing? What do you stink at and how do you overcome it?
Technology. I mean, keeping up on the latest current. Thank God we have Darren on our team who's at the forefront of that, because I hate that stuff. You know, if it was up to me, and I think Dell's the same way, we're old school real estate guys. We'll call, canceled, expired, we'll network, we'll do this or that. But if you ask me to set up a new CRM and
So one of our easiest meetings, right? Dave and I and Darren got back together for a quick huddle, and Darren's like, I want to take control of the website. And David and I go, okay. And we walked out.
Melissa, 2 confessions.
What do I hate doing? Probably open houses. You know, and I don't know why. You know, I just, for myself, the team does them. They do a phenomenal job of it. But I think I am going so much during the week that during the weekends, I want to be able to breathe a little more and have a little extra time to myself. So open houses are ones where for myself, I'd rather do the cold calls. You know, I'd rather spend 2 hours on the phone than in an open house where someone may or may not show up.
So all of you basically, you know, you admitted that there's something that you're weak at or you don't like doing, but you're willing to do something else to overcome for it.
you have to. Yeah. Can I add one thing?
Yeah, sure.
And I never can heap enough praise on these guys over here, but a big part of my success is the environment. If I were, it can work for some people to be a stay-home agent and do their own thing. If I were a stay-home agent, my income would probably go down 75%. I come to the office, I come to these meetings, I come to be on Dell's team and to be under Sandy, to talk to Joe in the parking lot. The energy that I get, the routine that I get from coming to the office generates me being productive.
I second it.
Yeah, well, I'll give you my 2 cents on that, and I've said this many times. You know, through the short sale days and the REO days, I used to work out of the home, and then I came here. If it wasn't for Heidi and Judy, I never would have survived those days. Because Heidi taught me more about REOs and short sales than any person ever. So if I never thanked you publicly, I came here today for the same reason. Sitting in that bullpen is just a ton of information going in and out of that.
True.
All right, thanks, man.
Okay, guys.
Matthew's going to introduce the vendors, so they're all here for a reason. Obviously, you guys are in lead generation, so are they.
I'll actually just let you guys kind of go around. We'll start with Get Your Move On.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Wendy with Get Your Move On, and Derek and I are super proud of our most recent brochure about right sizing. Downsizing was a little negative for people, but right sizing is more about dialed in to get it right. And we have an amazing list of professionals that we know can help grow your business. If you are looking at a downsizing or trying to reduce the clutter or what have you, Derek and I have a beautiful list of vetted professionals in town who can come in and make that process much easier for you. And I think you'll capture more listings that way. So thank you.
Good morning, Julie LaRosa with Stewart Title. I see several faces that came to the Tom Ferry recap and hopefully found it valuable, some actions to put into place. If any of you missed the 3 that I held and would like to come, please see me. I am putting one more on. And then also anybody who would like to join the Scottsdale Luxury Home Tour is this Thursday at Ancala at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to ask for forgiveness, not permission. Mary Boyan Slakey, Fidelity National Home Warranty, that's my day job. I am running for SAR Affiliate Director for a 2-year term, and I will be sending you all a link. I would ask for your support. I've been an affiliate for 32 years. I still feel very passionate about this business. I love what I do, and I would love to be a voice for you at SAR, which means I need to listen and pay attention. I believe I do those things already, but I'm very committed to the opportunity. So I'm running against 2 great people, but I still want you to vote for me.
Good morning, everybody. Allie Jennings with AJF Inspections and Engineering. One exciting new piece of information from AJF is that we recently added mold testing is an additional service, so we're still trying to do the one-stop shop. So if you have a client who wants to do indoor mold air sampling, we can certainly do that for you now during the home inspection. We can also do it outside of the home inspection. The fees will vary, and then we can also take swabs during the inspection. If we see anything that could be mold or looks like mold, we can swab it as well. So that's it. So thank you.
Hi guys, Allie Flath with Chicago Title and Jill Bright. So we've been doing our REMAX digital series, and we kind of wanted to, obviously with the panel talking a little bit about what their business plan looks like. We are 96 days away from Hanukkah, we are 99 days away from Christmas, and we are 106 days away from January 1st. So this is the time that we're going to start talking about business planning and getting into those details of what next year looks like. So next month, it's going to be October 8th, we're having our class. Jill's on vacation, so you'll just be seeing my face. I apologize. But we're going to be talking about planning and what that looks for everyone. We're not going to really set on like one specific subject. We're going to bounce a little bit based on what you guys want to talk about and how to set those systems and how to put things in place. And I know these big producers have a lot more money when it comes to putting it into their marketing. So regardless of what your budget is, we will figure out a plan and we'll help you guys structure that for the next year. What she said.
Hi, I'm Tiffany with CNN Mortgage, and just wanted to bring up that I've had a handful of agents call me in the last couple of weeks that they are frustrated with their lenders because lenders are super busy right now with the refis, with the rates being low. So I just wanted you guys to know, I've been in the business over 25 years. I've always been lender focused. Speaking of teams, I do not do refinances. My team does refinances, and I'm 100% focused on you guys. So if you guys are feeling a little bit of slacking from the lenders you currently use, give me a call and you'll get 100% attention.
Good morning. It's exciting to see you guys growing. Congratulations. So Rebecca Neesink, Allstate Insurance. I know a lot of you in this room, some of you have been referring to my agencies for more than 15 years. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate the trust. I want to be your trusted advisor. All 8 girls in my office know that when a real estate agent calls, you drop everything and we work that lead. So if there's anything you ever need from us, flood zone information, anything like that, please use me as your resource. Thanks.
Hello, Troy Peterson, Fidelity National Title. 2 things real quick. One is if you've been interested in leveraging the iBuyer and what's happening in the market there. Several of you have been to a class we did a few weeks ago. We have one on Tuesday at 11 o'clock at our corporate office. If you're interested in that, see me or Jen can help you. Some really powerful information there. And then number 2, I hit my 2019 goals yesterday, so thanks to many of you for helping.
Wow! That means
you're off, right?
yeah.
I don't know why I'm here. I should.
Hey guys, so you know what that means? That means his goal goes up 20% next year.
That's right.
Did anybody ever have a boss that you got to do more than last year's and explain X? Hey, so remember that as you guys don't clock in every day and everybody's wondering, hey, it's 10:03. I thought you were supposed to be at this meeting. What's that?
We hear it.
Well, yeah, because my job is to push you. All right, keep going. Yep.
Jen Weller, Fidelity Title. Just want to make sure you guys all know we just nailed down a location for our happy hour on October 3rd. It's a Thursday, 4:30 to 6. It's going to be the new State 48 Logger House right across from the Harley-Davidson place, which will be awesome. And then right before that, we have a class from 1 to 3 on building your brand. So I'll be sending out information on that so you can spend half a day with us. So 1 to 3 and then 4:30 to 6.
Nice.
Tara Carter, Old Republic Home Warranty. Thank you all for what you do. It's awesome. You've been doing great. We're all having a great year because of people like you, so keep up the good work. I'm sponsoring a fun class next week called Wine, Women, and Weapons.
I mean,
and real men will show up. So if you're interested, it is off of Happy Valley and I-17. It's a little ways away, but we want you to be safe in doing your open home.
What a great name.
Come see me if you're interested.
Dennis, good luck to follow up on that. Wine, women, and weapons.
All right.
So Dennis Nobley, I'm the owner of Horizon Inspection Service, and I've had the opportunity to work with many of you, and it's been awesome. I my whole business is a positive, informative inspection experience for your clients and then also for you. But it's a great thing. I feel like sometimes I'm a sounding board, because I get in there and I start walking you around and showing you everything and talking to you about how important it is and all that stuff, you know, and in a calm voice, you know, and making things, you know, keep things in perspective. And man, it seems like probably more than half the time they start telling me how they had a terrible inspection experience before, and they're like, this is really different. And I'm like, well, it's positive reinforcement for me, but it's a great service. And if you're looking for that, and your client says, hey, who do you recommend? You know, give me a try. I think you'll notice the difference. Okay? Thank you.
All right, everybody take their phones out. Mark December 6th. Save the date. I want to be the first one to invite everybody to our holiday party. It'll be a frickin' hoot, right? We have a lot of fun. We give away, Emily.
TVs, laptops, Alexas.
R4 entries.
Yeah, gift cards. Yeah, just cash.
Yeah, it's going to be at Greyhawk again, right? Mm-hmm. It'll be a nice spread, drinks, December 6th, save the date, because I know everybody's going to be grabbing it, you guys, right? Because everybody wants you at their holiday party. But if you do get invited to a client's party, I can understand that, right? Because you want to get there and network. All right, last thing. You'll notice up here that there are some handouts. Did we put them away? I did. Okay, I want to make sure. Can you grab them out? Yeah, all right. Can you pull them out again? Because were these on everybody's seats already? No. No, all right. So okay, I get asked this all the time. All right, what's your listing presentation? So I have an outline. If you come to business planning, everybody should have my outline that RTT groups as trying not to miss anything when you're at a listing appointment. But in addition to this, when you come, these go in your listing book, right? So I'll always get that panic agent that comes in Friday at 3 o'clock and says, I have a listing appointment tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I have nothing, right? So like right here, right? That was on the front of Res Magazine, right? First in class for technology, right? So you can touch on that a little bit on our CRM, contact management system, backside Remax on flyers and that kind of stuff, and then a map, right? And then there's a map of all the flags, right, that I passed out in the past. Remax sells a house every 30 seconds. Now, I still use the J.D. Power and Associates award winners, right, because they don't have a date on them. But I say in the past, we've been J.D. So I don't know what you guys have in your listing book, but if you need any of that, you can contact me. But these are here for a reason. Darren.
I was just going to throw one other nugget in there. If you were going for a very high-end listing, I've met Ann Miller at the convention multiple times.
There, you got it.
So I was listening to Paradise Valley, and they won't do this with just any listing, but she put it on the Remax Collection homepage for the first 30 days.
Oh, nice.
And that, I believe, helped me get the listing. So there are those tools, extra tools out there.
Annie,
Yeah.
tell us about your $8 million listing. That you've been, because you wanted some love. You got some big event going on. She's like, you need to do this, you need to do that, I got the most expensive. Okay, Annie, here you go. $8 million listing.
$8.5 million.
Damn. Yeah. Are you sure it might not be 7.9?
Sure.
All right, tell us about your broker open. Everybody's invited, right?
They are now.
December, I remember December 20.
September 25th.
That's what I meant. September.
Next week, but it's RSVP only. So you'll need to shoot me an email or text.
Yeah. So please support Annie on that. You guys will get the love back when you need it, right? So 8.5 in Silverleaf, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the lot number?
1078.
10. All right. Is it active on the MLS now? When does it go active?
The 30th.
30th. All right. Thank you guys very much.
Wait.
Now, I have to come, Darren and I never, ever see these, and a new one was up here, because he won't talk about it.
Okay. Oh, no. It doesn't.
Come on, we get a little love, too.
No, it doesn't.
Number one.
State of Arizona.
12 people. Let me say that. There's a line you can do with 12 people. All right, if Remax Renaissance can meet me in this back corner by Eddie.